Hey guys, how are you? This is Amar, and we are back with the reading videos. So we are reading my book right now. It's called 10 Short Stories for Young Adults, and it has 10 short stories, and we have read 7 already, so only 3 are left. I hope you're enjoying these stories. The whole idea of these stories is to have a moral. These are all small stories with a moral, right? They're talking about love. We've done friendship. We've done today, living in today. We've done competition. Every story has some sort of a moral, some sort of a lesson about life. From my perspective, you see, one of the important things to understand about anybody's writing or art, it's after all, it's autobiographical, right? Every writer, every painter, every artist of any form. Whatever they do, it's largely a reflection of who they are as people, right? So it's an opinion. Art is an opinion. Everybody's art, especially writing, especially poetry, especially painting. Everybody's art is autobiographical. So I think it's Pablo Picasso or somebody else who said that all art is autobiographical, right? So all of these stories that I've written, and all my writing for that matter, is a reflection of what I've learned about life over my years, and I just try to share that with everyone through my writings, through all my work, right? So my goal in life is to help people find their happiness, to be more happier and help people find their happiness. So that's the purpose of all my work, be it writing, be it comedy, whatever it is. So today we're reading a story. It's called Adversity. And it's going to be about, so as it says, adversity. It is going to be about hard times, right, which all of us face at some point in our lives. So here we go. Life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. This is a quote from Rocky Balboa, right? Yeah. Life isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place out there, and I don't care how strong you are, it'll beat you down to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You mean a nobody. It's not about how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Rocky Balboa. I love this quote. I've loved this quote all my life, because this quote is largely saying that life is not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit, how much pain you can take, and in spite of all of that, you can keep moving. A few are tested and a few are survived. The rest just wither away. It's hard, right? And some of us are given more pain than others, and there's no reason, right? We can't decode the ways of nature, and there are no answers why some of us are tested more than others, right? We don't know. But it's for sure that people who have strong convictions, strong beliefs, their beliefs and convictions will be tested quite a lot, right? For people who don't have strong beliefs and convictions, they're fine, they can carry through life. But those who have strong beliefs and convictions, their convictions will be tested over and over and over again. I'm amazed at the fortitude of certain people around me. For example, I'll give you an example. I happen to know an old man who lives with his old wife. This is a gentleman in the place where I've grown up. I cannot tell you how much I admire his strength. I have no words for it since I do not understand his motivation. I've thought about it many times. I have no idea what keeps him going. I do not know what drives him to get up every morning from the bed. I think that some people's shared existence is an inspiration in itself. To me, he is one of them. He had 3 grown-up sons. He does not have any now. It wasn't the old man's fault. He raised them so that they would be there till his last days, and now there's none. The other day, he was having a regular walk in the park while I was working out. I greeted him and asked him about his well-being. He replied, "All is well, thanks to God's grace." I felt like giving him a salute. In contrast, I'm surprised at the way other people give into difficulties. People lose their mental balance, commit suicide, just become irrelevant. So many people just lose the will to carry forward. In fact, they die that day. The mind, this is a beautiful quote by John Milton, that you should remind yourself. And we all should remind ourselves of these quotes whenever we are in tough situations. It says, John Milton, by the way, wrote Paradise in Heaven and he was blind. The mind is its own place. The mind is its own place. And itself, it can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven. The mind is its own place. And itself, it can make heaven of hell and hell of heaven. John Milton. Life is tough. It is difficult to manage its vicissitudes and maintain a sense of calm and balance. It is tough to keep going at times. Absolutely, it is. There have been so many times in my life when I felt the best thing to do is to sleep forever and never get up. But we are human beings, the most powerful creatures on earth. Just look around, you will find people who handle extremely painful situations with imperturbability that is almost fascinating. You will be hit. Something will hit you from the blue just when you think you've got it all settled. Now you can stay down, or you can get up and start again. Yes, start again. We'll be required to do this multiple times in our lives if we want to live lives that amount to something. We'll be required to put things at stake and run the risk of losing. Businessmen are great people. To my mind, business is the most productive force mankind has discovered. It has changed our lives positively for generations and continues to do so as I write these words. But all that looks rosy isn't so. A vast majority of business attempts fail. You know what that means? That means efforts, money, jobs going down the drain. It can be distressing. It can be disastrous for someone who's taken a bank loan to fund his business and has his personal property attached as collateral. Is it adversity? Absolutely it is. Some of the greatest businessmen have failed many times. They picked up what they learned and started again. Henry Ford said, "Failure is the opportunity to begin again, more intelligently." It is extremely important to learn how to deal with failure. Rather, it is even more critical to understand what failure means to you. To my mind, there is only one form of failure. It is in giving up the fight. If you have not given up, you are not a failure. You may be facing a setback. This means that something has happened that has stalled progress temporarily. It is temporary and just for the time being. If you decide that it is the end of your life, it will be. You are, after all, what you think. Setbacks are just one form taken by adversity. People die. It is extremely tough to handle the death of loved ones. Hell, I think it's the toughest thing in the world. But then people die. There's no way we can prevent it, and it requires tremendous emotional strength to tell you that there's work to be done. Breaking up a relationship that started with a foundation of blissful love, absolutely it hurts like hell. It hurts like needles all over. When someone you deeply love leaves you, your entire emotional world comes tumbling down, and you wonder, how do you pick it up again? Well, we cannot stop anyone from leaving, as you cannot force anyone to love you either. Things happen and people change for whatever reasons of theirs, and relationships come to an end. They do and they will. You will find someone better if you keep looking, someday. How about losing your job? Ask me. I just lost it, for no fault of mine. This was in 2010 when I had been fired from a job. Someone asked me the other day, "Oh my God, you lost your job. What will happen now?" As if it was the end of the world. "I'll find another one." I answered and the gentleman walked away. I think disappointed with my answer. All or any of these things do constitute adversity. No one wants to encounter it, but nobody is insulated from it. It'll hit you sometime or the other, in one or the other way. The important thing is you accept what has happened. Get up and start walking again. Don't stay there and do not expect people to come and pick you up. Nothing will happen. You're responsible for yourselves. You're the one who will have to pick up the pieces and start over. Make a gratitude list and say thanks for everything you have. Say thanks for your health, your education, for people who love you, for people who need you, for all the wonderful reasons you have to be thankful for. Start again because you have the blessings of being alive, nothing else. If you don't, you'll fritter away and the world will move on. Think about it. Do you think the world cares? When someone dies, it just moves on. And that is the right thing to do. Many great men and women who have been a part of the human civilization have passed away. You will too. I will too. While we are here, let's make the most of it. Let's be of use and a whole lot fun. Don't ever quit, no matter what the circumstances. Fight on, stay strong. Alright, let me tell you a story. Nischay was born in a slum in Delhi. Nischay is the key character here, the dirty, squalid place. His father was a cobbler. His mother died at the time of giving him birth. His father would drink a lot. Till he was 5, he spent a lot of time with his aunt. His mother's sister and his father would go to work. Then he started accompanying his father to work as well. He started to learn how to mend shoes. He would get up in the morning at 6 and accompany his father to work till about 8 in the evening. They could not afford food otherwise. He and his father would work together, make about 150 rupees a month. They would work at the corner of a building which had many offices. They would sit there and await customers who would need polishing, mending, repairs. They lived in a small room in the slum. It was in a dilapidated state and used to stink, and that was the word as Nischay had known. There were no basic facilities like electricity and sanitation, and the place was home to diseases. Nischay had encountered malaria while he was 3 years old and took months to recover. He was treated in a government hospital. The state of the hospital was pitiable. Thankfully, he had survived. A lot depends on God's mercy in such an environment. This name was given to him by his aunt. He liked his name, although he did not know what it meant. It meant resolve, as thought by his aunt. She loved him and did not want him to lead a mean and filthy life that the slum guaranteed. He was 10 years old and he had learnt the entire job profile of a cobbler. Till now he had no access to education. His aunt had pleaded with his father to send him to school, but he had not relented. His father wanted him to work and bring some money so that they could afford food and some liquor. One day he was polishing shoes for a man who owned a shoe manufacturing facility and asked him about his life. Nishchay told him he had learned this job from his father and that he knew nothing else. The gentleman felt bad for Nishchay and wanted to help him in some way or the other. He asked him if he could meet his father. The gentleman's name was Nirnay, which means decision, and he thought this was one of the reasons he liked Nishchay. Nirnay met Nishchay's father to explain the offer he wanted to make to his son. I would like to offer a job to Nishchay in my factory in the evening for 4 hours a day. During the day he can go to school. I really want to see him going to school. But why would he want something like that? Nishchay's father retorted. Well, I know what it means to be a child without education. I never went to school all my life. And whatever I learned it from life. It pains me to see another child going without education. You may say that there are thousands of children like Nishchay. That is correct, but I like Nishchay. I'm not exactly sure why. Please allow me to help him. It'll be perhaps the best redemption of whatever wrong I've done in my life. He will work. I'll pay him a salary and it's school fees also. His father said he'll think about it. Please do. This is my card. Give me a call and I'll tell you when to send Nishchay to my office. Nishchay wanted to study. He had seen school-going children while he was going to work and felt how and why it was different. He did not have any answers. He was told that he was just unlucky and that he was born in a poor family and his father could not afford to send him to school. Like many children in India, he was supposed to work to earn a living. He had requested his father one morning to send him to school. He was told to stay quiet and go to work. He did so and dismissed the idea. Now he felt hope. He did not say anything to his father, so he did not want to face his wrath. He did not understand why Nirnay wanted to help him to go to school. All that he understood was that he had a chance. He'll have to work very hard to go to school in the morning and work in the evening, but he wanted to do so. It took a week for his father to make a decision. His aunt played a major role in convincing him. It was completely a win-win situation for him, and Mr. Nirnay was just a Samaritan who understood Nishchay's predicament. Finally, it was decided Nishchay would go to school. His father accompanied him to Mr. Nirnay's office. Salary was decided. As agreed, Nirnay would also pay Nishchay's school fee. It was the beginning of a new life for Nishchay. He was about to turn 11 and was joining school. He was told by his aunt that he must study hard as the means for him to walk out of this dirty world. Nishchay started to learn alphabets and numbers in the morning and make shoes in the evening. His day would start at 5:30 a.m. and end at 11 in the evening. He worked hard as he realized he'll have to make up for the lost years. He learned fast. His teachers appreciated him. In one parent-teacher meeting, Nishchay's mathematics teacher applauded him in front of his father. Your son is excellent in mathematics. He's so fast, does calculations so fast, he makes others feel slow. You may be able to push him by a couple of classes. Thank you, ma'am, Nishchay's father said with folded hands. He felt proud of his son and kissed him. He thanked Nishchay's aunt for convincing him to send to school. Nishchay's aunt had been the mother to him that he never had. She did not have any kids herself. That is one reason she loved Nishchay so much. Her husband used to sell vegetables and they were a poor family like all families in the slum. She could not bear any children and so her relationship with her husband was a formality, not well attended to. He did not talk to her and would not come home for days. She would not know whether he was dead or alive during those days. She managed her expenditure by sewing clothes for ladies in the neighborhood residential society as her husband did not pay her anything. He wanted to see Nishchay succeed. When her sister died, she had held her hand and told herself she would do whatever she could to ensure Nishchay's well-being. When Nishchay started going to school, she was extremely happy. She would sit with him sometimes to see his books and would find time to learn something herself so she could teach Nishchay if he needed help. Nirnay would often visit Nishchay in the factory to ask him how things were. Sometimes he would also visit his father and aunt in the slum. He had had a tough life himself. He was the son of a school teacher. His mother was a housewife. When he was 6, his father had an almost fatal accident which crippled him. Since his father had been a single earning member, there was no one now to bring money home. He had to pull out of school and begin working. He started by doing odd jobs like distributing newspapers and selling cooked food, which his mother would make. He did so for many years. By the time he was 21, he had worked at many jobs and learned life on the street. He got interested in manufacturing shoes during one such job, where he had worked in a shoe design unit, which provided design consulting to shoe manufacturers. He felt there was good profit to be made if costs were kept low. He learned by observing and listening to conversations. He decided to start a small operation in a shop he rented, where he hired some men and began to teach them the designs. He managed to keep his costs manageable, and his business acumen turned him into a profitable businessman. He had never employed a child in his factory before. He employed Nishchay for the sole purpose of making sure that another childhood is not wasted, just like his. He wanted to make a real difference to Nishchay's life and felt delighted to see him progressing. Nishchay progressed brilliantly. Now his father's mission to make sure that Nishchay finished his education. He would work from day to night to make sure that he earned money enough to support his son in any way possible. He stopped drinking completely. 2 years after Nishchay started going to school. Nishchay finished his education with schooling with flying colors a few years down the line. He went to college to study engineering. He got selected in the best engineering college in the country. His classmates were fascinated by his story, his life. He rose from slums and had to work double as hard to make something of his life. His father was a cobbler and drunkard. He never had a mother. He was mothered by his aunt. Had a stranger from the blue not been kind to him, he may have been still sitting under a tree mending shoes. Nishchay knows that he can handle anything that comes his way. If he could bear and go through what he's already seen in his life, there could not be anything that is hard for him. If he is hit, he'll rise and not be stopped. He is inspiration for everyone who knows him. He makes their struggle melt at his side. Stay strong. Fight on. That's the end of the story, guys. That's a lovely story. I'm so proud of having written these stories. I hope they inspire you and help you find something, help you find some meaning in your adversity too. Okay. I hope that made you happy. It made me happy. Thank you. Bye.